Shalom, saints. Yeah. What's the one? This was we one before that one though. Almost saying the same thing. No, it's back there. Ain't nothing before that one. Ain't nothing before this page. Nah, we'll get it. We'll find it. Shalom, saints. I want to welcome you to part 2 Shabbat study lesson. This is entitled Calendar, Reproof of the Saints. And if you know what reproof means, it just means rebuke, correction through instruction. Saints, we know we the saints of the Most High, Khan. So I'm going to start this study out with a conversation, some questions. I'm going to use Brother Michael. I'm going to ask him some questions. He's going to be receiving and call and response because of me not having the opportunity to have a conversation before this lesson. So earlier this week, I had a conversation with my son, and we were just going back through the time and through the years and knowing who I am, who I was and who I am. I was just expressing myself to him, and he was just like, "Dad, you're just being too nice. You're not receiving what you're giving in due respect." And he was like, "The people might not just honor your teaching and all the knowledge you're giving them." And I was like, "What?" And I'm listening at my son, who, you think your kids, sometimes they in, sometimes they out, sometimes they hear, sometimes they might not hear. But one thing they know is how people treat you, right? And so I was just trying to give him an example that we got going on with the calendar. And he was like, no matter what, you should have been given an opportunity to have a discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your children don't like you feeling some kind of way, right? Because we all humans, we all get in our flesh, Con. So I was listening to the wisdom coming through the mouth of my son. And so I was just like, okay, I'm going to do what I would do if I had a conversation. I would always hear the people out, and then I would go back and research the information they gave me, right? Because if there's an issue with the doctrine that I teach and you say we're the we and you're a part of the highest way, me as the leader, I should have the opportunity to hear what you have to say and either counter it or agree with it. Because, many of you have followed the highest way or even through the Multitude of Christ ministry, if there's a change need to be made, I don't have a problem making it. This ain't work. Open door policy, I've given everybody my number. Everybody has opportunity to call me, right? And then my son goes, well, maybe they just misunderstand your passion, Dad. Like, what do you mean? Maybe they're just scared to talk to you. I'm like, grown people scared to talk to me. I'm open. All you would have to do is have a conversation with me about anything to see how open and willing I am to give you the information if I have it, right? Everything that we've taught in these last 4 or 5 years have been free.
Right.
You know what I mean? And man, is it going on 6 years?
Yeah.
2018?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Time is moving, right? It's a labor of love. I love it. I labor in it, and I give it freely. So I'm listening to my son. I'm like, man, I got to go back and I gotta study this thing because I know I haven't just been letting people walk on me, or have I? Have I just been letting people get by with things that JW wouldn't let them? It's like, it's crazy that, you could send a question I could send a question and reply, and then it's just dead. Like, it's like people don't get on the phone no more.
Mhm.
People don't want to talk in person anymore. And I think it's just all a communication breakdown that could be solved if you want to be resolved. But if you're already stuck in your way, then it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So we started talking about examples like a brother that came, said he wanted to join the congregation. We had a conversation. He didn't believe in our method of teaching the truth, but he still wanted to come. He came. Then he was like, this ain't really what I want to do. But I didn't have a problem with the brother because he had already told me, like, y'all style is kind of laid back. I want to be more assertive on the streets, on the front line. Cool. Right? He communicated before. So when he left to do other things and go to other places, I was like, I told everybody else, like, don't worry, because he had already told us this and that and how he felt, right?
Right.
Then we had another brother that come to the congregation, right? Kept swearing he didn't want to teach, didn't want to lead. He left and he started teaching and started church. But in my face, no, you got it, man. You the pastor, you Raah, I follow you. I'm here for you, right? Then another brother comes in telling us about every other congregation in the world, praying, helping, interceding with the family. Then they leave not wanting to be accountable for them just not wanting to be to church on time. Right? If it is a feast or it's whatever, everybody's putting their best foot forward, but don't nobody get no special treatment. We've always had the stance, we eat spiritual food, then we eat physical food. That's just the way it goes. You just got to be on time, right? So then that brings up to the point of now, right? Talking about whether I'm getting walked on or disrespected or dishonored. It's just reproof of the saints. The calendar, if teaching is a labor of love, then this calendar has been a pet project. Many hours and many adjustments have been made. Never said we had the calendar ironclad. Everything's an estimate because really you have to observe the moon, right?
That's right.
But then if you're following Enoch, which we do, Enoch has a bunch of core principles. There's no feeling involved in it. It's core principles. And really this lesson is to the people that are past Gregorian calendar. You're past the Hallelujah calendar. We're not looking at rabbis and Jewish or anybody that looks Jewish or uses Jewish words like Yom Kippur and you know what I'm saying? We're past that, right? We went past Jesus to Yeshua, to Yah, to El. You know, like we passed that, right? We're talking to those people, right? We're trying to get to a point where there's no more divide and no more separation, right?
Absolutely.
So in the last 3 years, I don't know if you've noticed it, but the last 3 years, there's either been some kind of additional lesson or there's been some kind of calendar change, right? I don't have a problem. I'm not stuck in mud. I don't mind correction. But this year is a little bit different because every time I cite the new moon or we talk about the calendar, I'm always inviting people to let's talk about it, especially people that say we to we. You're a part of the Highest Way ministry. Like we should be talking, we should be having video Zooms, and we should be, you got anything to share, add it. But at this point, I've been the only one giving, right? And I know a sister that came and gave us some value information about the day of the moon. And, you know, I give her all the credit, right? Because we want to get this thing and do it right in spirit and truth. We want to be on the path.
That's right.
But if there is something that I've done wrong in the calendar, and you're someone that I know that have been studying and working on the calendar, I'm listening. But you can't call and correct me off of somebody else you've been listening to, and I don't know none of their teachings. I don't know these people at all. I don't even know that you was following them. I thought I was showing you and teaching you the way to use the calendar, right? Because nobody else has stepped up and said, hey, Hey, we've been working on this calendar. We've been sighting the moons. We've been doing the labor. I ain't heard nobody within the family or outside the fold. So when I'm listen to my son, I'm just like, all of this thing is running into place, right? So 2 years ago, trumpets, there's email, communication. You might be on the wrong date. 2022, I believe. 2023, last year, same thing. Around trumpets. Now this year, in May, according to the principles in the cycle, May, we should have kept the Shabbat on, I want to say Thursday. Mm-hmm. But I got a message that, listen, the night before or the next day after the new moon, saying the new moon was sighted on the day before. We couldn't see the moon here. Somebody sent a text, so I asked the brother who I'm supposed to trust. We family. No communication. I said, hey, did you sight it? Who sighted it? No communication. Right now we're dealing with respect. Even to this day, no communication about it. We made that adjustment. I could ask for forgiveness and I can be humble, but it got to be reciprocal. So we moved back a day, right? Now, here we are in September, and from the same geographic area, we're now told that we need to move up a day. So based off of what I just said, if in May we move back a day, and now we're behind a day, is it my fault for listening? Or is the information I'm getting wrong? Or should I even be listening to people that have not even shared any information they got with me until it's time to correct me? I'm talking about the correction of the saints. Thought we was on a different level, right? Hey, if I sent you, then I went out there, I saw it. You heard me. I'm on live. I'm saying I saw it. I saw it right now. I'm showing it to you. Right? But I don't send you no other people's stuff, right? On a new moon, I'm saying I'm looking for people to cite it wherever you at in the world. Just DM me, send me a picture, send me an email. Mm-hmm. That's fair, right?
That's right.
Not somebody else's picture and email. I don't know them. You know what I mean? I don't know their purpose of when they look for things. Because if the new moon is usually after the dark moon, the first slither, all right, so we had a dark moon, right? We just had 30 days.
Right.
Or we just had 29 days or whatever. So when you start moving that far past the dark moon, it adjusts the month before. Mm-hmm. So if the month before was wrong, then the month after is wrong. But I'm asking if people are making changes and correcting we do our own calendar.
That's right.
The information that I presented, I've been doing it 3 years.
On point.
I don't get paid. Barely people send donations to the church. It's just a labor of love, right? Mm-hmm. So I should get the respect of a phone call. Not the last minute, not before you're about to go live and we want to correct you before you go live. Like we got a whole week, whole 6 days, right? So I'm gonna use Mike as an example. We're gonna role play, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you some questions out as if I'm talking to someone who has something they want to share to me about teaching, whether it's the sons of God or not angels, they real men, anything like that. Any topic, any subject, we should be able to have a conversation, right?
Right.
But just for you, right? Because when people come to this ministry, they see you my number 2, right? Mm-hmm. And so another thing me and my son talked about was accessibility. I'm getting everybody 100% accessibility to me, right? But they're not coming to me. They already coming to my number 2. So we had a conversation earlier. If they're already coming to you, I need to trust you that now if they want me to answer a question, they need to already come through you. Right? We're doing it live for the world to see. Right. Brother MaKaal, you come to MaKaal, and if he can't answer it, he going to ask me. And that way we could put some distance between me delivering the word and people needing to have questions answered. Right. In the way about they go do it, right? And so I'm gonna do something that they didn't afford me a chance to do, right? So I'm gonna ask you some questions, right? So what would you say I am to you as far as relationship?
My brother.
I'm your brother. What other word? What other adjectives?
My pastor.
You're a pastor, right? Pastor, Shep. Okay. So what else am I to you?
Family.
Family. 3 big words, right? That many people who watch us probably can't say.
Mm-hmm.
So how I feel about what they do to me is really going to get hit home to somebody that says, I'm their brother, I'm their pastor, I'm family. Right? So that's a relationship and rapport, right? We've
Right.
eaten together, we slept together, we bathed under the same houses, we ate and shared bread together, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so next question. Have I helped you and your family understand scripture and grow?
Absolutely.
You can witness to that.
Yes.
Okay, so if I've helped you, then if you had a question about any topic in scripture, you would call me.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't just send me a whole bunch of lessons and links and pictures.
No.
But you would do that to me. Why? Why would you call me or set an appointment where we can meet up and talk?
Because we have that kind of rapport. As my pastor, my spiritual leader, I trust that you are well knowledgeable in the situation to give me the understanding that I'm searching for.
Were we always that way? Were we
Yes.
always that close?
Yes.
Since we very first met?
We've been close since we very first met, yes.
But to this point, was it always like that, or did we grow to that?
We grew to that point.
Okay, we grew to the relationship we have right now, right?
Mhm.
So do you make the calendar?
No.
Did you study the principles and study? You're learning all that stuff now. But anything you find outside of what I've already taught, do you bring it to me?
Yes.
You bring it to me to go study it.
Mhm.
Do you expect me to change it right away?
No.
But you expect me to go at least research and listen to you
Right.
because of our relationship.
Absolutely.
But I'm giving everybody that same relationship. Are you special, or have I given that to everybody?
That's special.
Okay, all right. So you don't make calendars, and you somewhat know how it works, though.
Right.
Okay, putting the calendar together is problematic, correct?
Absolutely.
Because we're trying to use the signs in the sky and the moon to help us create a calendar to give the people really for their jobs.
Yes. That's it.
It ain't really for the feast days. Because I could just put out feast day calendar and most people would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for a calendar with feast days and Shabbats, now, without citing that moon, it could be problematic. Or even creating a future calendar, it could be problematic because of scripture.
Right.
We're going to read these scriptures earlier. I'm going to say, see, he trusts me. I'm his brother. We family. I'm his pastor. He trusts me to make the calendar. Not saying he can't make a calendar, but where we're at right now, he trusts me. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's at the Highest Way Ministry. Do you think that I would purposely make a holy day ordinary for you and your family?
No.
I would.
No. What's the game from that?
Okay. If you had do you have a problem with being the go-between between me and all those that would have questions for the ministry or me?
I don't.
Do you think you can handle that relationship and that assignment?
I can.
So before all the world and all the saints, I'm letting him know that now the responsibility and accountability, he already has the credit, right? So now he's going to be given that burden that any questions or comments or anyone that needs mail, anybody has questions, it's all going to come through you out.
Okay.
So everybody going to know that now it needs to go through him, and the relationship that people thought they had to get to me directly, they need to go through Brother Michael so that I can spend the time with the Most High to make sure that I can keep putting out lessons like the series, The Highest Way, and other lessons, right?
All right.
And I can just keep fine-tuning the scriptures and what is brought forth toward the people. Con. So that's the end of our role play. Not hard, was it?
Not at all.
Okay. Now let's get into these slides. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 21. All right, yeah, I'm gonna pass this to you. Ecclesiastes chapter 21, verse 6.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 21, verse 6.
Uh-huh.
He that had to be reproved,
He that hateth.
hated to be
Hated.
reproved, Salakia,
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
is in the way of sinners.
What?
He that hated to be reproved is in the way of sinners.
All right. So all relationships is two-way. Relationships aren't always peachy and beautiful. But when one party or the other steps out of the line, if you love them, you'll correct them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they love you, they'll accept that correction and change. But we know that's not always the way it goes.
That's right.
Some people, it takes them longer to accept the correction than others.
Yes.
Right? But if you know that that person doesn't have a problem with being corrected, then you shouldn't have a problem explaining all the details of why you are correcting them. It's not as simple as just telling them, hey, you're wrong. Why am I wrong? See, people got a problem with being questioned while they questioning the other party in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you ask me a question and to get further clarity, I say yes or no, and then I ask you a further question, where you get that information from? Have you been studying? Why do you feel that way? You shouldn't feel some kind of way where you can't communicate to me in a timely manner.
Right.
Remind you, you just email, text, and DM me and called me and told me I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In that same time frame, I'm expecting you, if you're gonna call and do that to me, like you would. Like, so you're using the boldness and forwardness, like, hey, I would call TDJ, I would call Creflo, I'd do that to anybody. You know, if they out of line, so you coming with that energy. You're not sharing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, we feel.
Right.
So then the reverse is not to feel some kind of way when you get questioned to explain why you feel that way. Right? So the person you corrected shouldn't have a problem being reproved, nor should you feel some kind of way of giving instruction of why you're trying to reprove them.
Yes.
So he that hated to be reproved is in the way of sinner. Also, those that are correcting that don't like to be corrected are in the way of the sinner. Right? And we're talking about doing things in a timely and respectful manner.
Right.
Go ahead.
But he that feareth El will repent from his heart.
You'll repent from your heart. He's like, oh man, I ain't know I made you feel that way. I didn't know I did it that way. Because see, it ain't what you say, it's how you're saying a thing or doing a thing that really stands out, right? And someone that says, I'm your Ak, I'm your Raah, I'm your shepherd, I'm your pastor, I'm your friend, we family. The low way, you do family that way. The highest way, you don't treat family that way, right?
That's right.
So let's go to Proverbs chapter 10. Proverbs 10 and 17. You could do it and change the view to put the scripture up big if you want to. Proverbs 10 and 17. Go ahead when you get it out.
He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction, but he that refuses reproof erreth.
So you err by not allowing people to correct you. You're in the way of life, or you're on the path of the Most High by keeping instruction. So if you told me I was wrong and I changed it in May, and now you tell me I'm wrong in September, and I'm like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have to change in September. Even if you're right, we both wrong because you told me to change in May. So I'm just trying to figure out who erred, and if we all erred, forgive me. I'm sorry. I should have maybe stood my ground in May and said, man, we're not going to change. And guess what? I wouldn't have had to make this video in September. Right? But I'm trying to appease, and I'm trying to take people on the merit and on the relationship we have just to not get it back in reciprocation. And I clearly said, well, the reason why we're behind today in September is because we moved in May. Proverbs 12 and 1. Let's go. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1. Go ahead.
Proverbs 12, verse 1. Whoso loveth instruction, loveth knowledge. But he that hateth reproof is brutish.
Foolish and stupid, right? But if you love knowledge, right? All you're getting, get understanding. I'm getting this knowledge, but you don't like correction. That's someone that can't even lead. You shouldn't lead, and you shouldn't be trying to reprove people. Because you had to learn how to follow first to learn what type of leader you want to follow, so that when you become a leader, you could be that kind of leader that you would want to follow. Proverbs 15 and 10.
Proverbs chapter 15, verse 10.
Go ahead.
Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way.
I ain't saying nobody's forsaking the way, but a person that can't be corrected has erred. And they might be in contempt of forsaking the way, or walking in life, or walking the path of the Most High. I mean, how proud is that to go around and shooting off correction to people that you don't have a relationship with? Like that, to send correction with no follow-up details and no more communication. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. Go ahead.
And he that hated reproof shall die.
And he that hated reproof shall die in their own ways. The error of their own ways has done this, right? Drop down to verse 32 and go ahead.
He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul.
You hate your own self if you despise instruction. And the main people that despise instruction are the ones that keep giving instruction. Because if things was done decently in order, we would not be having this conversation. You ask a question, I answer the question. You come back and make a statement, we think it's another day. We don't think it's Tuesday, or we don't think, but did you understand the basis of what happened? This is what I'm saying. If you had the basis of how a calendar works, and you know the rotation of 30, 29, 30, 29, and if you move a 30 to 29, it obviously makes 30 in the next month, and it's going to change the whole ordinary day to a holiday, or a holy day to an ordinary day.
That's right.
It affects everything. Right? Go ahead.
But he that heareth reproof getteth understanding.
This is the whole point. We just get some understanding. I'm going to share back the information that I shared in a small sum, right? And hopefully we can get this done in 30 minutes. And it's all just to bring clarity of understanding. Everyone has an option to believe and follow and do what they will. But man, when you start using words like family and Raah, or pastor, and friend and brother, man, we don't deal with each other that way. That is not the way we're supposed to communicate with each other, right? So Genesis 1:14, let's start from the beginning.
And El said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs.
They're not only to separate day from night, so day can't be night and night can't be day. So you can't start a day at night because there's opposites. Go ahead.
And for seasons.
And let them be for signs and for seasons. Go ahead.
And for days and years.
So there is a calendar established for the sun and its seasons, and the moon and its seasons. So the correct season of the sun and the moon is when you have your feast days, your Moedim, right?
That's right.
Go ahead. Or your Moad. Go ahead, 15.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And El made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And El set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And El saw that it was good.
So we use these luminaries in the sky to help tell what seasons. They're used for signs, how to count our days and our years. That's what they're there for. They're not just day and night, but they help us calculate time, days, seasons, and so on. All right, now let's drop that. It was at the end of that.
Verse 19 was the last one. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 33. So we know it's the sun and the moon. Sun rules the day. The moon rules the night. Ecclesiastes 33, verse 7 to 9. Go ahead.
Why does one day excel another? When it's all the light of every day in a year is of the sun.
Every day is governed by the sun. You know a day because the sun is out. When it rises, it begins. When it sets, the day is over. Then night begins. Go ahead.
By the knowledge of El, they were distinguished. And he altered seasons and feasts.
So these suns, these days that go throughout the year, it has different weather, which establishes a different season. Different things are happening during each season throughout the year. And so every day there's a sun, but every day of the year is not the same.
That's right.
Right? Go ahead.
Some of them he had made high days.
So some days are made high days, holy days. Go ahead.
And hallowed them.
Right.
And some of them hath he made ordinary days.
So I'll ask you a question again. Do you think I would purposely make you celebrate a holy day on an ordinary day or ordinary day on a holy day? Right? When everything is done in these calendars is human error and calculations and counting. But the only foolproof way is the signs in the heavens.
That's right.
Right? But I'm going to show you where the signs of the heaven, if you're using them through technology, is problematic. And you're not going out there looking at it and taking a picture of it yourself. And if you can't look at it yourself, you have to go off principles of calculation, or you have to have another saint in another area that has a clear sky looking for you. All right, let's go to Psalms chapter 136. Psalms chapter 136. Psalms 136, verse 7. Go ahead.
To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever.
He made the great lights. Go ahead.
The sun to rule by day, for his mercy endureth forever.
Go ahead.
The moon and the stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever.
Hey, that's a song chorus right there. His mercy endures forever because he gave us the luminaries in the heavens, right? So we use the sun for seasons, right? There's a solar calculation within a year, right? Now let's go to Sirach chapter 43. Now let's look at this, because you'll see Israelites, man, they'll have information online and it'll just be talking about the lunar calendar only. As if the lunar calendar is the only calendar that matters, but you got to start that lunar calendar in the right solar season.
Come on, Ox, say it again. Say it again.
You have to start your count in the beginning of your months in the right solar season.
That's right.
Verse 6, Sirach 43 and 6. Every Israelite that does a calendar or calculations uses this verse, but they don't understand the verse and a lunation of a moon. Go ahead.
Verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season.
So she has her season, and the sun has its season. Go ahead.
For a declaration of time.
For what?
For a declaration of time.
So if the moon is used for a declaration of times, so is the sun. Days, weeks, months, years. Go ahead.
And a sign of the world.
Yeah, it tells you night and day. But not only that, go ahead.
From the moon is the sign of the feast.
So we use the moon to find the feast in its season and in the solar season. Right? Go ahead.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
That's great. When would you see a decreasing of light off the moon? right? Now watch what it says right after that in verse 8. So the moon decreases. Great. Go ahead.
The month is called after her name.
So the only reason you know a month is because moon is synonymous with month. So you use the moon to calculate your months in its season for the feast of the Most High. But a lunar month is not the same as a solar month.
That's right.
Go ahead, Art.
Increasing.
Wait a minute. The moon or the month is now increasing. So it was decreasing. Now it's increasing, right? So this ain't that and that ain't this. Tomato ain't tomato and tomato ain't tomato. So one Israelite say the month start at the full moon and another Israelite say it start at the first slither of light on the moon. You have to choose what you want to believe, right? So now it was decreasing in its perfection. Now what it say?
It is increasing wonderfully in her changing.
Now it's increasing wonderfully in her changing. Now go ahead.
Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
So it increasing into the full moon, shining in the firmament of heaven, right? Verse 9.
The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of El.
So how do we find the new moon? Because look at it, two different words. New moon and full moon are two different types of moons.
That's right. Come on out.
So that's a little naivety for a teacher to be up there telling you the new moon is the full moon, and you go online and you keep looking and you're like, man, these are 15 days apart. These are two different things.
That's
but
right.
He's telling me the new moon is the full moon. So what's the dark moon called? You know what I'm saying? He done made one type of moon the same thing.
That's right.
Right? And so let's look at something real quick. I don't have it on the slide, but go to Psalms 81. Just real quick. Because we broke this down in so many lessons now. But when we get to Psalms 181, verse 3, this is the importance, and I want to bring this out right after Sirach 43, right? Because it said the moon is the sign of feast, right? It's a light. So what does a new moon, by the definition of this world, have light? No, it's dark. And even the slither of moon, is it a light that decreases when you have the slither? No, the slither is light increasing.
That's right.
So what are we talking about here? From the moon is the sign of feast, a light. All right. Psalms 81 and 3. What it say?
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon. In the time appointed.
In the time appointed.
On our solemn feast day.
Well, when you read that in other versions, it says blow the trumpet in the new moon and on the full moon, which is the sign of our feast. What three feasts fall on the full moon?
So you got unleavened bread.
15th day of unleavened bread.
You got
16th day of Feast of Weeks.
And then you got tabernacles.
And you got tabernacles the 15th day. Full moons.
3 times a week, man.
So these feasts fall on the full moon. So why would Israelites start a month on the full moon and then they have a feast on the dark moon? It goes totally against from the moon is the sign of feast, a light.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we're going to move on. So how do we find the new moon, right? So we through reading the book of Enoch, we say it is the first slither of light which comes up on the moon, right?
Yes.
So let's go, let's just hold that spot. Let's go to the book of Enoch and let's see if we can find these verses we want.
Okay.
I got one verse and my stuff on, you got to pull up this stuff online. So it varies in the chapters, right? But this says it says Enoch 77, 13, and 14. But in my book, I don't have 13 and 14.
It says 77.
Yeah.
13 and 14. It might be 70. So try 79.
Well, 78 is where we're going next, but
okay, 77. What's how it start?
It starts all the time that the moon is in progress with its light. It is poured into it the presence of the sun until its light is in 14 days complete in heaven.
All the time. Let me see.
Then it says, verse 14, and when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in heaven, and on the first day it is called the new moon. For on that day light is received on it.
Okay, so I got that's in
chapter what?
Okay, so that's gonna be in 78, because 78. Let's see.
Oh, I see it.
So it says, and the moon has 4 names. Okay, these are the 2 great luminaries. There's spears of disc, or like the spears disc to the heaven, sides to the boat.
Oh yeah. 78 verse 12 and 11.
Yeah.
Or verse 10 through 12. So I'm gonna update that. So read that. Enoch in the book, chapter 78, verse 10 to 12. But online it might say Enoch 77, 13 and 14. Okay. So read that out of the book.
All right. And Uriel showed me another law. When light is transferred to the moon, on which side it is transferred to her by the sun.
Go ahead.
During all the period during which the moon is growing in her light, she is transferring it to herself when opposite to the sun during 14 days. Her light is full in heaven.
Go ahead.
And when she is ablaze throughout, her light is full in heaven.
But what verse 12 say?
And on the first day, she is called the new moon. For on that day, the light rises on her.
So that's where we find the new moon. That's Enoch's explanation of how you find a full moon. The new moon, which is separate from the full moon. Verse 11, he read, when the moon is to its full, after 14 days past the new moon.
That's right.
Now let's keep. We're still in 78. Online it says 10 through 13, but let's read verses 10 through 13, and in your book.
Well, we just read 10 through 12, so 13 would be the next one.
Oh, okay, keep going. Keep going.
She becomes the full moon exactly on the day when the sun sets in the west, and from the east she rises at night.
So you're in the middle of the month, like tonight, when the sun sets in the west, you go outside and you look toward the east, and you're gonna see a big old full moon coming up in the east. The middle of the month, the full moon and the sun are opposite in the sky every month of the year.
That's right.
The moon may rise in a different portal in a different part of the east, right? But they're going to be opposite. Go ahead, Op.
And the moon shines the whole night through until the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun.
Yes, opposite in the sky. You're going to look west, and it's going to be a sun going down. You're going to look east, and you should see a full moon coming up. Go ahead.
On the side, once the light of the moon comes out, there again she wanes until all the light vanishes, and all the days of the month are at an end.
So this is how you know a month is at end, because all the light in the moon is gone. Go ahead.
Right. And her sphere, which is a disc, is empty, void of light.
Empty what?
Void of light.
So the dark moon represents the end of the month, whether it be 29 days or 28 days or 30 days. Go ahead, verse 15.
In 3 months, she makes a 30 days.
Okay. Is that what we first day she is doing? Okay, hold it right there. All right, let's go back up.
Okay.
Hold your spot right there.
All right.
Let's go back up. So that's how we find the new moon, right? So over the years, we've collected all of this information, right?
Mhm.
And whatever information I put online, I ask the saints, right? If you watch somebody or if there's a leader been doing it longer than I have or someone's found information, share it because it's about knowing the truth, not trying to be right. We're not trying to be right. We just trying to follow the path of truth.
Mhm.
It's no need to be arguing or be at odds with each other when we all just trying to find the truth. And I would not purposely do you wrong or steer you wrong, right?
That's right.
But here in number one, these are some facts we put out, right? The moon must be observed.
That's right.
Whether you're confirming your calendar calculations or whether you're trying to find the beginning of the month. Here's the problem. The saints have asked for a calendar so they can notify their job so they can be off.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there would be no point to do it, right? I would just wait for the new moon like I always do, put out the video, and then it's whatever day. That's the safest way to do it. Anything else is problematic, right? Now, for number two, go ahead, Art.
Must follow the patterns outlined in the book of Enoch.
There's a lot of patterns outlined in the book of Enoch that we have to follow in order to keep our calendar true. We're going to go through some of this stuff later that makes it problematic even more, right? But remember, I said the first problem is we want a calendar to notify our employer, right?
Yes.
That's number one. All right, number three, go ahead.
Counting the new moon will help you keep feast in the correct season.
You count your days from day one in the new moon, and it helps you keep your feast days. Because in the first moon, right, we got Passover, unleavened bread, right? In the third moon, we got Feast of Weeks on the 16th day. And then in the seventh month, you got trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles. In the correct feast, it should have the same kind of weather, right? But the Gregorian calendar, sometimes you're in October, sometimes you're in September, but who knows those calculations, right? Go ahead, verse 4.
First day is when light becomes visible, following dark moon.
We just read that, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
the question is it all? So I'm asking, right? I'm not teaching, I'm just asking the masses now, right? Because I'm wrong, right? I've been deemed wrong because no communication. I'm deeming that somebody's saying I'm wrong. And they've agreed and they say, we believe this, y'all believe that. So now we all ain't we the way it happened. That's just how I feel about it. So is it the day always after the dark moon? Or could it be the third day or fourth day when somebody sees the moon because you just got to see it? So if you're just matter of fact, you just got to see it without any calculations, that's problematic. And is it always after the dark moon? Well, what if you got two dark moons?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 5.
Shabbat days are calculated from new moon 7 days after.
Right. Shabbats aren't Saturday. So if you're watching this, we already agree they're not Saturday. So this is just something we put down. Go ahead. Number 6.
Lunar year is not equal to the solar year. 10-day difference, 354 days versus solar year is 364 days.
All right. And I figured, and actually, I'm going to move away from that because now, after reading other principles of Enoch, that's not always true that it's 354. And I'm going to show you the verse that proves the lunar year is always not 354. So if you already knew that, then you could correct me. You could tell me exactly where I'm wrong, right? But I'm in my feelings that someone who doesn't want ever talk to me about the calendar has now told me this is what I believe, and I don't care what you say. I got 6 witnesses, and I know all these pastors know more than you. That's how we ain't had no conversation. We ain't had it in a timely manner. All right, verse 7, number 7.
Dark moon is the conjunction.
It's the end of the month, right? We just read that. Go ahead.
Which lets you know the month has ended and the new moon approaches.
Go ahead. Verse 8, number 8.
The new year, lunar month, begins on the first new moon following the equinox.
We get that out of the book of Enoch. He goes through the whole year of the rising and setting of the sun. And when the beginning of the year is for the sun, is going to be the beginning of the year for the moon. The first full moon following the equinox. Go ahead, number 9.
There is either 29 or 30 days in lunar month.
And I'm gonna adjust that because that ain't what the book of Enoch say. He said there's 28, 29, or 30 days in the lunar month. Wait a second. Now that changes everything, don't it? Because the Jewish calendar clearly only says 30 and 29 if you're following the rabbis.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last few years, and maybe the reason why we keep going off is because we don't understand that there's a 28-day coming sometime.
Yep.
In a month, there's going to be a 28-day. We haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't mean it ain't coming. But who's looking for it? Or are you just looking for whenever the new moon is? You're not really counting the months, right? Go ahead.
Which amount to 177 days in 6 months.
Now that's going to change, right? Because if it's only 29 and 30 days, it's 177.
Right.
But if it's 28 days in one of those months, it's going to be less than 177, is it not?
That's correct.
It's a phenomenon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't have wrote it if it was not so. All right, number 10.
You must understand, observe, and calculate the rotation of the moon cycle to find the feast day.
We agree on that. And hopefully if you're watching this, we agree it's the first slither of light on the moon. Now the question is, what if the next day you don't see the slither? Do you count it or do you wait till the second day? That changes your whole calendar, don't it?
Right.
But nobody's trusting me to do the work. They just assume I'm wrong because in May, we seen it today. We'd seen it not the day after, but the day after that, right? Which would make it a 30-day month. But then a brother said he saw it the day before, which would make it a 29-day month. You see the problem? And now we're in September and they're saying, no, you should have had a 30-day month, not a 29 month. So honestly, is it my fault for listening or is it their fault for sending me information that wasn't proven? Oh, we could take blame all the way around, but then we go back to what my son say, you always taking the blame. Right? But if we sit down and talk about it, just like if we're a congregation and we're a family and we sit down and talk about it and we're sure, then we can go talk to other camps and now we make them sure and then we can get all of our nation on the same page. But you see how problematic it is if you at an assembly and you watching all these other assemblies and you're not trying to have a conversation with your moray or your teacher. You're just having all this information you have and you're just watching him until he mess up and, oh, I got you. That's how I feel. Like if you're not sharing the information, it's almost like you waiting for a got you moment. And I'm be honest, everybody that watches me, listen, I'm be honest and truthful. You don't need a I got you moment to go off and do your own thing. You don't have to disprove me. You don't have to have me in no scandal for you to just go off and do your own thing. Freely you came and freely you could go, right? It's based off of your merit and how much investment and skin you put into this game. And if you say you haven't put much into it, then why we need all the drama? We don't need all that drama. Is it always the day after the dark moon? Look at this rotation of these moons. My brother showed me a picture. He got a different one, right? But it's basically going from a dark moon to a full moon. Mm-hmm. And you can see in the beginning of the month, you always have the moon starting on the right. We believe that principle. The slither of light is always going to come on the right side of the moon in the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. And it's going to grow all the way to the full moon. And just like we read in Sirach 43, then she's going to decrease beautifully towards the left side. And you're going to see the right side get dark. And the left side is going to be the last side with light until the month ends, like it said, void of light. Con?
Light, con.
All right. So you can go online and find all these variations of a 30-day calendar, right? They all start with a sliver of light. But look at here's where the issue, there's a couple of issues we're going to go over. But here's where you can clearly define the slither after the dark moon, right? Now you get to the end of the month, you'll see that there's 2 dark moons.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. There's 2 dark moons. When you have a count of 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29, it's going to fall right in place. That's why the Jewish rabbis have that. But here's the slick thing that they do. I studied them this week. The rabbis will say both of these days are the end of the month. They'll say 2 new moons is the Kodesh, right? So they're just hedging their bet until they get observation. So they could hold off 2 days in the beginning and end of the month till they get it right. That's not saying that they're wrong, but what they've done is set up a way where whatever they say the day is, the people are cool with it. Mm-hmm. Because the way they give it to them is 2 days of dark moon, 2 days of slither moon, right? But look at these 2 days. They're both saying new moon on this slide, which we know is not the new moon. We know it to be the dark conjunction moon. But just for the sake of looking at it, which new moon do you count? Is it always the first dark moon? Slakia. Is it always the first dark moon, or is it always the second dark moon? Which one is it?
In this situation, the first dark moon.
Well, of course, when you see this, when it says it's a 30-day cycle, so you take the second dark moon is the end of the month on this slide, right? Because that's how they set it up. Day 1. And they say this is a 30-day cycle. So at the end of the month, you're going to have 2 dark moons, and you're not going to be able to tell which one is truly the end unless you have a rotational count to let you know whether it's 29 or 30. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now go back to where you was holding your spot at, in Enoch, and go ahead. I think it was in 78, and you was...
So do you want me to start at 8 and read 9?
I think it was at 15, verse 15. In the book.
Okay. And the 3 months she makes of 30 days. At her time, she makes 3 months of 29 days each.
Okay.
In which she accomplishes her waning in the first period of time, and in the first door for 177 days.
You see that? So when you have a rotation of 30 and 29, 30, 29, 30, 29 in 6 months, it's going to add up to 177 days. Okay, so as we've been learning and evolving, is that always going to be the case? No. It's not always going to be the case, is what I found out. So I almost appreciate the way things happen in the communication, because guess what? It made me get on my knees and ask the Most High to send me more information, help me figure it out, right? So in figuring it out, found more information. All right, go ahead, continue.
And in the time of her going out, she appears for 3 months, consisting of 30 days each, and she appears for 3 months, consisting of 29 each.
So there is going to be years of the lunar count starting from Abib, where you're going to have 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29. You're going to have that for 12 months. You're going to have a 354-day year, according to the moon. But it's not going to always be the case. Khan? So now let's look at these calendars side by side. So now we have a 29-day month and a 30-day month. And here you got a dark moon here and a dark moon here. So you got a dark moon at the beginning of the month, and you got a dark moon at the end of the month in the same calendar. That's totally different than this one, is it not? So they're showing you 2 different examples of dark moons, 30-day months that could happen in a calendar. Now look at the 20-day month. So just by the example that's been put online, right? The Highest Way didn't make these calendars. But just by the basis of people posting in this calendar on the 29th day, you can see that the new moon is after the dark moon. But is the slither of light always showing after the dark moon is my question.
Mm-mm.
See, now I'm trying to edify on the way, you know, right? To the naked eye, you can't see it, but is it there?
Yeah.
And then if it's not there, do you just automatically count day 2 as day 1?
No.
Ain't that problematic? It's going to shift the whole calendar.
Right.
So do you always count the first day after the dark moon, regardless if you can see the slither or not? That's my question. And if not, who's doing the calculation? And then how do you keep from making an ordinary day a holy day? Y'all follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to Psalms 104:19. Psalms 104, verse 19. It's going to say the same thing we read in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 43. Well, go ahead, verse 19.
He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down.
So is the moon the only seasons that matter?
No.
Can you find the seasons of the moons without the lunar?
No.
Without the solar calendar. Because without the solar calendar, you just shooting in the dark. You're just shooting in the dark. That's why you got people that already had tabernacles in June and July.
Right. They
way off, right? And then there's a leader I watched that he had a whole video about the 13th month. Listen, forget Hallelujah. You can't start your year until after the equinox.
That's right.
So if there's another 13th month of moons before you get to the new moon after the equinox, oh well, right? The only thing that matters is you find month 1. Because the only months that matter is 1, 3, and 7.
That's it,
8, 9, 10, 11, 12 do not matter unless you're adding all the other Purim and all the other stuff to it. Mm-hmm. Feast of dedications and all the extra man-made feasts. But the only feast of the Most High that matter is month 1, month 3, and month 7.
That's right.
And to find them, you need to find your new year.
Absolutely.
In its season.
That's right.
So how many of y'all have heard of the black moon and the blue moon? You heard of saying every blue moon?
Once in a blue moon?
Once in a blue moon?
Yeah.
You heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I bringing this up? How could this affect our calendar? Because a lot of the information that was sent to me was based off of apps and moon counting phase calendars, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to show you how problematic that is without using Enoch and just using those phase calendars, right? But first, I want to show you something that will explain these, the phenomenon that happens in these moons and months without you understanding the rotation that's written in Enoch. He clearly says there's 30 days and 29 days. Is that what he said? Mm-hmm. That's what he said right there. Okay. So now let's look at this. A blue moon. What is a blue moon?
My screen. A blue moon refers either to the presence of a second full moon.
A what?
Second full moon.
Oh, what?
Second, number 2. Full moon.
So when you're looking up in the sky, we say it's going to be a full moon today. You're going to look tomorrow and say it's a full moon tomorrow. A full moon tomorrow. But we got a blue moon month? Or is the waning or waxing of the moon so close you can't tell whether it's a full moon? Because all the principles have to line up together.
That's right.
Because there's going to be some times you look up and that full moon, there's 2 of them. It's 3 of them. You're going to look on your apps and you're going to be like, oh, I trust these apps, time and date, National Oceanic, moon phase. But what if all the apps say something different? Mm-hmm. What if the apps don't exist? Mm. What are you using to keep count to make sure you're on the right rotation? So a blue moon is what?
A blue moon refers either to the presence of a second full moon in a calendar month, to the third full moon in a season containing 4, or to a moon that appears blue due to the atmospheric effects.
So the atmosphere, the moon is either looking blue, oh, that's a blue moon, or there are 4 full moons in a 3-month time span.
Yes.
So from the first new moon of Abib, if in the 3rd month you got 4 full moons, one of those moons is a blue moon. This happens every blue moon. You'll have 4 moons in 3 months.
Yeah.
Or you'll have 2 full moons in 1 month. That's rare.
Right.
Keep it in mind now. So how you looking at the calculations? So did you know that there was names for full moons?
Man.
Full moons have names. They actually have seasons where these moons have names. So today is what?
Today
September
is
what?
The 17th.
So it says corn moon is between September 17th and the 18th. Hey, what do you notice about the date ranges?
It's always the
middle or latter part of the year, right?
Yeah, yep.
You don't ever see them early in the year, do you?
No.
So just based off of this, not really even studying it, what kind of moon should we be having today or you say tomorrow?
Should be a corn moon.
A corn moon or a super moon or a harvest moon or a partial lunar eclipse.
Yeah. Partial, yeah.
Huh.
A lot of stuff going on.
So they basically saying one of these full moons. So what if ours look full and then tomorrow yours looks eclipsed? It ain't really full, is it?
Mm-mm.
Or is it? Okay, keep going. The blue moon.
The next blue moon will be on August 19th, 2024.
Well, that's in 2 days.
August.
That was last month.
Yeah.
That was last month, right? So in August, that's when the blue moon was.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was in September, if I'm not mistaken. But keep going.
It will also be a super moon. So some may refer to it as a super blue moon or a blue super moon.
Now watch this. What it say next?
The next monthly blue moon will be on May 31st, 2026. The next seasonal blue moon will be on August 21st, 2032.
So these blue moons are very rare, but when they happen on your calendar like it do in August, is that why you're on the 4th?
Probably.
Is that why your Shabbat is tomorrow? Like who's calculating the moons?
Right.
Because you had a blue moon. A monthly blue moon is when you have 2 full moons in a calendar month. How do you account for it? Who's doing the calculations? Who's doing the labor? Who's up all night counting?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all didn't hear what that just said, right?
Well,
how the saying go again?
Once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon. We just had a blue moon last month, and the next monthly blue moon is what year?
2020. The next monthly is 2026.
So you might say every 2 years,
it's a blue moon.
There's a blue moon. You could say that.
But
a monthly blue moon.
But does your calculation?
But did somebody prove it and do the calculations over years?
That's the question.
Right? Now look what it say. The next seasonal blue moon, when you have 4 blue moons in 3 months. Listen what I said. 4 full moons in 3 months is happening when?
2032. That's a whole 6 years after 2026.
That's 6 years after 2026.
Yeah.
That's 8 years from now?
Yes. 8 years from now.
So what do you do with your calculations then? What's your count rotation when you see from your new moon and you get to a full moon and you on them apps and you got 2 moons and they say 100%, 100%. What do you do? So let's look at this app. Let's look at this app for today, right? This is the almanac.com, right? This is the almanac.com. This is for September, right? No, I'm sorry. This is the August. This is August, right? August 19th, right? It got to be August 19th. Yeah. So you see, it's a full sturgeon moon, right? That was in August, right? So that's one of them names right here. Sturgeon moon. Look, back in August, if it happens, it'll be called Sturgeon moon.
Sturgeon moon, that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Now let's keep going.
All right.
That's what a blue moon is because it's blue. A blue moon is because it's 2 full moons in a month or 4 in a 3-month period. Who calculating that? You probably already knew that. I'm sorry because you corrected me. So you knew that. Go ahead.
A second full moon in a single calendar month, sometimes called a blue moon.
We read that. It's just flipped upside down.
All right. A second full moon in a single calendar month is sometimes called a blue moon. By this definition, a black moon.
A what?
A black moon is the flip side of a blue moon.
Okay.
The second new moon.
What?
The second new moon.
We know the world is calling the conjunction or the dark moon the new moon, but we know that's not the new moon according to the highest way. We know the new moon is the first slither of light that comes up on the dark moon, right?
That's right.
That is called the new moon. But just for the sake, we got a blue moon, which is fully lit, two in 1 month, 4 in 3 months, or it's just blue. It's the opposite of a dark moon, which is a totally blacked out moon twice in a calendar month. All right. Now let's go to this next. Let's look at these basic phases. You got a new moon, waxing, which means growing. You got a quarter moon, which means half of it on the right is lit, the other half is dark equally, right? And then you got the waxing gibbous, and then you got a full moon. And then it goes in reverse. It wanes. It goes from waning gibbous.
Yes.
The last quarter.
Yes.
It's totally lit, half on the left, dark on the right.
Waning
and then it's waning crescent to the left, and then you back to the dark moon. It's the basic lunation of a moon.
Yeah.
You got to be outside to even know it. Otherwise, you're trusting everybody to make sure your ordinary day is a holy day or vice versa. Your holy day is not an ordinary day, right? But look at what it say about this dark moon. Go ahead.
When there are 2 new moons in a single calendar month, it's called a black moon. This is a rare occurrence.
It's rare, but what it say after that?
On the next black moon will be on December 30th, 2024.
Now I'm asking a question, right? Now look at this. Remember the map, remember the calendars we saw earlier. Look at day 1 is a dark moon.
Man.
But look at day 31. Day 30.
Day 30 is the new moon, but it's dark.
It's a dark moon. I'm saying it's 2 dark moons in 1 month.
Yes.
It's 31 days in the Gregorian calendar month of December. So how do you count all these days to make sure which one is 30 or 29?
Let me see.
In a 31-day month.
Wow.
It's just a question.
So
I'm getting questioned without any detail. But I'm online, open reproof, right? With the saints. Somebody make it make sense to me that can make it make sense to me. When you got all these blue moons and you got all these dark moons, how do you know when you're looking at an app and you're like, oh, I got 2 dark moons? That means I got 2 new moons on the same, 2 new moons with a sliver, 2 dark moons in the same month of December. Somebody make it make sense to me. Is it 29 or 30? Now you're looking at all these percentages, because these percentages, what it say now ain't going to be what they say on the same month in 6 months from here.
That's right.
Because they're guesstimations and estimations. So I'm doing my best to labor to give you accuracy, and I would get questioned without any detail. It's not fair. Go ahead, Art.
Because Earth seasons are approximately 3 months long, They typically have 3 new moons.
Right. That's a season, right?
When a season has 4 new moons, the third new moon is called a black moon.
That's the opposite of blue moon, right?
Yes,
Blue
sir.
moon is when you got 4 and 3.
Say the flip side.
And then the flip side, so you can actually have 2 dark moons in a month, and you can actually have 4 dark moons in 3 months.
Yes.
How do you account for that without using the principles that Enoch gave us?
Gotta rely on the calculations.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Gotta rely on the
So now
calculations.
here's what it would look like. You got a new moon, you got a dark moon, we waxing, we waning, and you got another new moon. So we went A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and we back at A in the same month. How you rationalizing that? And now Enoch says not only are there 29 and 30 day months, there's a 28th day.
Yes.
Somewhere at some time, there's going to be a 28-day month. How do you calculate it? How you rationalize that? I don't mind being reproved and corrected, but man, it has to be a conversation. It has to be fair. We grown people. We just not getting in our feelings. We prove all things. You can't hold fast to what is good just because somebody said it and you ain't even did no research. That's sowing discord to me. You correct somebody without details and reasons, that's sowing discord. How do we account for 2 new moons and 2 full moons in our monthly count? It's a question.
We stick to the pattern.
We stick to the what?
To the pattern.
That's what you're saying, right?
No. Oh, I was reading
Yeah,
it.
you move too fast.
Oh,
All right?
my bad.
You gotta give people a chance. That's you gotta give the students a chance.
Salaki.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You got 2 new patterns showing up, two blue moons, 4 dark moons. How do you account for it? Go ahead.
You stick to the pattern, even if the slither moon is not observed.
So do you stick to it? It's the first day after it, whether you're able to see with your naked eye.
You gotta trust the process.
Because if you have a rotation, if you found, and here go the principle, if you found a bib day 1, what I learned and what I appreciate them let me go back to, you have to have 30 days in the first month.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have 30 days in your first month of a bib, that automatically puts you on the rotation.
Yeah.
30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29, that whether you see it or not, you have to stick to it, knowing that the anomalies are you're going to have some dark moons, you're going to have some extra moons, you're going to have some extra full moons. Are y'all listening to me? Y'all going to have 2 dark moons in 1 month, 2 December coming up. You got 2 dark moons and 2 full moons. Make it make sense without a pattern of rotation. And what establishes your order? The first slither of light, the Abib new moon, 30 months, 30 days in that month, always, and you count from there.
Mm-hmm.
You have your rotation from there. Now look at this. Go ahead.
What do you do when the app cannot help you? Percentages below 1%, double new moon, 0%, double full moon, 100%.
These is 3 issues. What do you do when you're looking at your app? It's the day after the first dark day, but it's pretty much another dark day because it say 0.3, 0.4, right?
Which means you still ain't gonna see it.
Here's the thing. The new moon in September, if it was on Tuesday, it was 0.4. On Wednesday, it was 2 point something on the apps. But in May, it was 2.3 and it was 0.5 on the day he sent the picture saying they saw it. So you telling me we moved back because it was 0.5, but now we wrong because we didn't take 0.4, but the rotation had us off. It can't be both.
Mm-hmm.
If it's both, then there's no rhyme or reason to the Most High. We need to throw all of this away if there's no pattern.
That's right.
So let's look at the consistency or inconsistency, because I feel like I've been called inconsistent, even though I changed in May because you wanted to, and now you want me to change in September. I mean, it's all bad for a leader, and I should just stick to what I know, right? I'm teaching. Nobody else wants to share, so it's not fair to the people that are following. Look, now let's look at the National Oceanic. We're gonna look at the Moon Giant, time and date, the Almanac, and everybody loves moon phases. Now let's look. We're looking at only the month of September, and let's see, because the full moon has to be 14 days after the new moon.
Yeah.
Right?
No doubt.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go to the full moon and you could go backwards to find your new moon from the full moon.
Right.
Vice versa.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see here. In May, we adjusted back from Thursday, which was a 3.3%. So I was off a little bit. It was 3.3. Then they told us somebody saw it Wednesday with one witness. So we moved back just to keep the peace, 0.5%. No conversation, because when I asked for clarity, I did not get it. So brother sent picture that the moon was observed on the 8th. We couldn't see it. It was cloudy and raining. We couldn't see it. So, see, I'm trusting, but I'm not getting trust back. It's almost like he's trusting me, and now we can kind of manipulate and move things around. That's how it feels. You know what I mean? So now we went back to the 8th. We went back. Listen, now you're saying we're off. You need to move forward. So in September, I got DMs saying, hey, we think you're wrong. We think it's Wednesday. But then in May, hey, we think you're wrong. It's not Thursday. It's Wednesday. This is not what families should be doing to each other. Without conversation, without sitting down, let's go through the information. Let me show you what I'm showing now so I don't have to do it. Because I don't want nobody to feel some kind of way, but I've been feeling some kind of way, and y'all ain't cared because nobody's having a communication with me. You want to call Mike? He don't make the calendar. You just heard him say he don't make it.
Not at all.
Not saying he can't answer your questions, but you could get the direct question answered immediately. But now, no, not no more. Now you're gonna go through him, because I'm not gonna play the games. I don't want to be going through this roller coaster. This is the 3rd year. I'm done. Right? I don't care what happens on social media or whatever. Listen, I'm done. I'm just done. Okay, but now we've been told, hey, y'all have it on the 3rd, it was 0.4%, but 6 people saw it at 2.4%. Yeah, 2.4%, right? But I'm supposed to not believe it was there Tuesday, but I'm supposed to believe in May it was there on Wednesday at 0.5, 0.5, 0.4, 0.5, 0.4. All right, let's look at September. Almanac.com. All right, it say the dark moon was Monday. So if we're going the day after, the Almanac says what? The first day. It clearly says on there, first day. 0.4, your naked eye, we couldn't see it anyway because it was raining, right? The next day, I get an email and message. I think you're on the wrong day, Ak. You said it was Tuesday, it's Wednesday. You wrong. Okay, where you get that from? What you talking about? Right? Then I got another text on this quarter moon saying, hey, you see the moon? Yeah, what about it? It don't look no different than this one or this one. But if you're going on apps, that's all you know. Okay, so now let's look at today, right? So it say the dark moon was Monday, and if we just follow the principle that it's the first day after the dark moon, which would have been Tuesday, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing they seen it Wednesday, but my question was, did the people you had witnessed, did they even look Tuesday? If they didn't even look Tuesday, how they know it wasn't there? Because in May, 0.5 showed. So why would 0.4 not show if 0.5 showed? Okay. Now let's look at this. This is September. This is on the almanac.com. Now, what does it say? What does it say on today the 17th, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, what does it say today is?
Full corn moon.
It's the full corn moon, 100%. So if you go backwards, the new moon has to be on Tuesday. But what does it say on the 18th, which is tomorrow?
Waning gibbous.
It says waning gibbous. Now, this is just what Almanac says, right? All right, let's look at another witness. Moonphases.org. Okay. Moonphases.org. Now look what it said Monday and Tuesday. That's pretty much 2 dark moons.
Pretty much, yeah.
It say 0% on Monday, 0.01% on Tuesday. Look at what it say on Wednesday, 1.15.
That's a big, that's a lot of gain.
So even if you didn't see it, it still got light on Tuesday, but you can't see with your naked eye. It got light on it. But the 6 witnesses say it was Wednesday, right? Okay, now look. Wednesday is the day, 1.15%. We still got an issue because even moon phase say what on the 17th?
Full moon.
Full moon at 100%, which will put it on Tuesday at 0.01, not at Wednesday at 1.15. That's just 2 witnesses right there.
Yeah.
What does it say on the 18th? That's tomorrow.
Waning gibbous.
On Wednesday the 18th, it say what?
Waning gibbous.
Is that 100%?
99.99%.
Okay, that's just 2 witnesses.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Still on.
Okay, let's go to Moon Giant, right? Now, Moon Giant say Monday and Tuesday is 0%. You have 0% chance of seeing it with the naked eye. Wednesday is 33.3%.
3.3.
3.3. So them, 6 witnesses saw it, right? But what does it say on the 17th and 18th?
100% full moon.
But what does it say on Wednesday?
100%.
Which 100%?
Going with the first one.
This is 3 witnesses of apps, right?
Yeah.
The only people is those 6 witnesses that went outside on Wednesday. My question would have been, did they go out on Tuesday? I've been doing them videos for 3 years, and ain't nobody confirmed and say, we seen it, except y'all a couple of times. But I'm like, if it's important to everybody, and if it's this important to say, this ain't that, we believe this, we don't believe what you believe, well, why couldn't we just been witnessing it together? Every new moon. If I go live, y'all go live, or y'all get on my live and be like, we see it, we don't see it, and then share it and like it to other people. Do y'all see it? Do you don't see it? It's not that hard if you really wanted to do it. But something's in the way of it being that simple. Right? And you're going to just send me apps and pictures. Listen, I don't know these people, and I'm showing you right now, these apps are problematic. Let's go to time and date. All right. Time and date, they just give you this little squirrely thing, right? So September is highlighted. What day did they say the dark moon was on?
The 2nd.
So if we're looking for the slither moon, we're looking for when? After the 2nd.
After the 2nd.
All right. When did it say the date is on the full moon?
17th.
That's today. How many witnesses is that?
That's 3.
That's 3-1, right?
Yeah.
3-1 apps. All right. I'm not doctoring these apps. Let's go to National Oceanic, right? So let's look at what National Oceanic say. This is even more confusing, but they give you a context down here at the bottom, or whatever, glossary, right?
Yes, sir.
So in September, it say the dark moon is the new moon. What day it says on?
That was on the 2nd.
So that say the dark moon on the 3rd. You see it say day? Day 3.
Day 3.
So day 3 would have been Wednesday. No, Tuesday. Tuesday would be the 3rd.
Right, because the 4th.
The other ones say the dark moon was on the 2nd.
Right.
This one say the dark moon was on the 3rd. Okay. It say the full moon is on what day?
This is the 18th.
All right. So now you got 2 apps. You got 2 to 3 apps. Now, it depends on the spirit in you and whether you rock with Raah or not. Some of you are going to be like, I didn't know about those 2 apps. I'm going to use those 2 apps to confirm my church and the people I'm teaching and the people I'm riding with. Or we can look at this thing together and try to figure this thing out, right? So let's go to Enoch chapter 77. I think it's different in the book. I know where it is though.
It should be. Is it 78?
No, I'm gonna show you what I want. I've been quoting
okay.
it, but I want us to read it now.
Okay. Lay it on me, y'all.
All the teachers and the people y'all talking to, if y'all got a communication and an open relationship like we used to have, I want you to go to them and I want you, it's in 78 verse 9 in the book. I want you to read that verse only. And I want all the Enoch, all the Enoch calendar followers, I want them to explain verse 9. Read it.
And in certain months, the month has 29 days, and once 28.
I want you to ask them when the last time they had a 28-day month on their calendar. And if they ain't never had a 28-day, they're not following the right calendar. And if they have 28 days, I want them to make it make sense. Because we know there's 29 and 30 days, but it say once
28.
Like once in a blue moon,
once,
which could be the start of the Jubilee. It means something.
Yeah.
That time period where you had that 28 day, it means something in the counting system. But it has to be there. Right? So let's go to Enoch chapter 78. We already read all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we already read this one. All right. And we read this one too, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to Enoch 97. I think it was chapter 99. These are online. I might have put in parentheses in the book, chapter 99. Enoch chapter 99. Yeah, I highlighted. I'm sure you highlighted yours too. Enoch 99, we're going to read verse 10.
But in those days,
in these days, saints,
blessed are all they who accept the words of wisdom and understand them and observe the paths of the Most High and walk in the path of his righteousness and become not godless with the godless, for they shall be saved.
See, my whole point in this lesson, sisters and brothers, is for us to get some understanding. I don't mind being corrected, but we can have a conversation. And the topic that you corrected me on, you should be an expert in it. Mm-hmm. Not that you just seen a video online, you just seen a pastor post something, and you're like, oh, that goes against what we teach. Hey, we wrong. I say it to this. All the great things that I've taught you and all the great things I've done for you, do I deserve to be dismissed so easily? For one topic, one subject. Where's the honor? If you don't honor me, honor the things that I've taught. We're supposed to be righteous. We're supposed to be commandment keepers. We're supposed to love each other above all else. We're trying to seek the path of the Most High Yah. And if we ain't had a conversation, how could you have such an opinion about something and you didn't even discuss it with the person you call pastor? Mm-hmm. Now I got to look side-eyed at everybody that call me pastor. I'm just a pastor for your convenience. I'm just a pastor when you need me. I answered your questions. I did what you needed for me, but as soon as you have a difference of opinion, the relationship ain't reciprocal. You know? And so this is the last thing I want to show you. Go to pull up that slide. It's just online. Yeah, cancel the other one and hold that up. Cancel the slide and just, yeah, you got it. All right, so let's just look at this because I don't even think I got it on here because it's just on that computer. I don't have it. But you who are online, you're looking at a spreadsheet because we're not gonna move it past 2024 because I did the work, right? And I thank you for lighting a fire up in me to try to prove something that I really didn't need to prove. What I should have did was just stayed the course in May, and I wouldn't have been in this position today for people to distrust me and to treat me such a way that I don't deserve. I could have just simply said, hey, brother, we're going to stay where we're at. But because I didn't tell that brother we're going to stay where we're at, now they're calling, telling me a few months later, I'm wrong twice. So now I've been told wrong twice when I could have just stayed the course where we was, and I would have been right twice. But this is what we're going to do, though. We're going to stay the course this month. We're going to wait on a new moon. And I apologize to everybody else, but I'm telling you, creating those calendars out that far is problematic. But in October, we're going to wait till we sight the new moon. With all due respect, if we're not liking and sharing it on New Moon Day to make sure everybody observes it, then what are we doing? Stop trusting them apps. Those apps are here and they're there. And those numbers and those illuminations change. I'm just telling you, I've already done the work. I've got the gray hair. I've lost sleep behind it. You ain't put it in like that. And if you have, then I wonder again, why are we not sharing information, and why do you think you could hold it and take and not give, right? But when you're looking at that calendar, we're looking, and I have them side by side. I got from Abib this year on the left, and I got Abib on the right. Now, Abib on the right is following the pattern of the Most High. Abib on the left is following the pattern of the Most High, but we got off in May, which has us off in September. But following the pattern of 30, 29, 30, and 29 from Abib of 2024, I found the 28th day. And I really thank you for lighting the fire within me, because it showed itself. The once in the blue moon 28th day. There ain't gonna be no lesson about that. But what I'm showing you on that slide, and I've gone all the way to 2029. If you ain't did that kind of work that you see on that slide, show me some respect, or don't show yourself to me at all.
That's right.
If you got 6 other leaders and 6 other people you follow, and you can follow who you want, but you don't hear me telling you about other people like that. And if we family and we're a congregation, we shouldn't even be talking about other congregations like that unless we're sitting down, having a Zoom meeting or in a face-to-face and laying all the information out to find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DC in order. Anything outside of that, man, it's like, what is the purpose and what is the agenda? So I've done the work. I'm going to approve it again like I always have in October, because I think when you go through the videos, I've seen the moon in January, seen it in March. It had a lot of weather this year. June, July, August, I seen all of those, and they were all the day after the dark moon. So it's a pattern, it's principles, it's a rotation, right, Doc?
That's right.
And that's what we're going to stand by until the Most High gives us more information. I mean, I've laid out everything we use, all the information and how it's done. At least if you're going to tell me I'm wrong, use my own information to prove me wrong. This is what I watch. I watched these 5 videos. I seen an issue where we need to go back and look at it. All praise. Hey, let's sit down and let's go back through it. But things ain't happening like that. We acting like the world. It's an unimportant thing. Oh, I said something, but I ain't had the time to go on it. Hey, I'm going to give you a call and I'm going to tell you, I think you're unrighteous. Okay, man. Let's have a conversation. Talk about what I did, man. I ain't mean to offend you. Mm-hmm. And then a week go by, and then you're like, oh, I just didn't have time to get around to talk to you about something I said you did wrong, or you were doing wrong, or we disagree with, or whatever it is. That's not decent in order, and that is not the righteous way that we as saints reprove each other.
That's right.
It ain't the highest way of doing things.
Not at all.
This calendar is a passion of love. And anybody you watch that puts a calendar out, if you ask them, they're going to be slow forthcoming with the labor that they put in. They're not just going to hand you everything that they did, like I did. But people don't even go back and watch them. The Jubilee series, there's a sun, a new moon, floating Saturday. I mean, I went all up and down and in and through it to answer every kind of way about this calendar. People still want to stay on Saturday. People still want to say the month starts on Wednesday. Every new moon is a Wednesday. And now we're off on the rotation and things like it's still so much to learn. We still got to dig out the Jubilee count.
Man.
Everything we keep trying to dig out, man, it's just, it takes more and more time, more and more labor. So that's the second lesson we got today. I didn't think it was going to go this long. How long have we been going? Almost 2 hours. All right. The calendar, reproof of the saints. Hope you learned something. If you didn't learn it from here, everything we gave in short is full lessons and series on it. Just go back through our YouTube archive. Go back and study and show yourself approved. Hold us accountable to information you know we teach. Don't use nobody else outside of us to correct us if you don't know what we even teach and you with us. It's not fair. And if you're not with us and you want to have questions and you want to go through Brother Michael, at least be kind enough to go and watch what we believe and talk to him about something he's heard taught and something he and his family stand by. I appreciate you letting me use you as an example, just asking them questions. You know what I mean? Just to go through, like, how we correct and reprove each other, we don't even know each other. We don't know each other past Q&A questions. You know, we deserve more than that. And I give abundantly. I trust to a fault. But stuff like this in the word is something that I hold so dear and passionate. I don't do this stuff to be right. I do it to help me and my family find the path of truth. And that's my desire for you and your family. And with that, I thank you.